Start with simple stuff and then just add a little bit more, add a little bit more, add a little bit more, you know. Don't go right to 10, start at 1, conquer that, flip it over, go to 2, go to 3, go to 4. Back it off, understand when to take a rest, don't beat yourself up. Take the time, be methodical about it, just keep showing up. Every time you say you're going to practice, just do it.
Dude, wow. Unreal. Welcome, everyone. Mr. Stan Bicknell is at Drumeo, and man, you just killed that.
Thanks, man.
I always have to look down, and there's no double pedal there. Like when you close your eyes, you think that you're playing double pedal.
Sometimes I wish there was.
Yeah, I bet. Well, we have a really cool lesson for you today. It's all about building speed, power, and freedom with your foot, and you're the guy to do that, man. You have a great technique. People are raving about your foot, and you actually have never really taught this.
No. Yeah, it's probably the thing I get asked the most on my Instagram, and yeah, I'm here to talk about it. I'm honoured to be here first, by the way, so thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you, Taylor. You're a legend. Thank you, Jared. Everyone, this is just such a ridiculous honour, so thank you.
Well, it's a privilege for us to have you here too. We've been following you on Instagram for quite a while. We've wanted to have you out. We've been seeing what you can do with your foot. Not just that, but you're so precise. You're great with your linear drumming. You have great freedom. Your creativity is there. So he's a great drummer to check out. If you guys want to follow him, check him out online. The place you should follow him is Instagram. You can just find him at Stanley Bicknell. Make sure you give him a follow, because he posts some killer stuff there. But for those who don't know anything about Stan, he's not just an Instagram drummer. He's also been playing drums for 20 years. He played in some big bands like Kimbra, Miami, Horror, host of other acts. Now you're kind of taking more of a family approach.
Yeah. I pulled back on the touring and stuff about 2.5 years ago. Too many drop-offs to the airport with my daughter crying, and so, family first. So I'll probably pick up the touring and gigging when she's a bit older, but right now it's just about my girl.
I love it, man. You're also killing it. You're making kicking coffee. It's called Rumble Coffee Roasters, which is cool. And that's what his shirt is. So how did you start that? What is that?
I've been in cafes since I was about 11. So my grandparents owned a cafe back in New Zealand, and so I've always done hospitality as a means to an end when I was pursuing the drumming. And every time, barista, cafe manager, cafe owner, it just sort of kept growing with the drumming, and now I've gone full wholesale, and it's just as much part of my life as the drumming. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And you brought me some coffee to try, so I'll let you know how that goes. Huge thanks to Pearl, obviously. It's Zildjian as well. I love these cymbals, man.
Yeah, they're dope.
And Zildjian sticks, too. Remo heads, and also Allbirds.
They've been supporting been great to me as well for the last couple of years now, so... Thank you very much.
Yeah. So today we're going to dive into just how to get more freedom, more speed, more power and control with your foot. But we're also going to be filming a course just on your technique, and that's just going to be for Drumeo Edge members. Also, all the songs that you're going to play today, they're going to be play-alongs that you can get if you're an Edge member as well. So if you really want to dive into Stan's technique, definitely come and check us out at drumeo.com/trial. You can try it out for 7 days, see what you think, and you can check out Stan's technique in slow motion and with all the appropriate curriculum that helps develop it, I would imagine.
Yeah, I want to try and dispel a lot of the illusions with it and give as much information on it that I can, so that more people can start doing it and taking it even further than what I'm doing with it, like yourself, like we did before.
Yeah. And if you're a slide technique drummer, just for you guys out there, I play slide technique, and I was able to pick this up quite quickly. Now, obviously, I'm not master at it by any means. I got to practice it, but I think it's more designed towards slide technique players, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. So heel up, slide, it sort of facilitates that. It doesn't, like, people compare it to heel toe quite a lot, but it's very far from that because the heel never actually hits the foot plate. But
I think it's clearly a slide approach. Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the lesson, I got to get you to play again, but that first song was awesome. It's called Pushing Prime.
Yes.
And that's by Stevie Cat Jr., is that right?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's actually the drummer that took over for Kimbra when I handed the sticks on with her, and he's one of my best friends, and about 3 weeks ago he said, bro, I've got a track that I want to write for you. And so that track that I just played, I probably put that together in about a week and a half, and I've just been listening to it constantly. But Stevie's that sort of guy that knows how to pull the best out of me. He's a great drummer as well, but he's also just a great person, and that track definitely pulled out, it pulled a lot out of me, so I'm stoked that he did it. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, it's a great track, and that's great for practicing this technique.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just your feet in general, not even this technique.
And just catching all the stabs and stuff, like the whole thing. There's no repetition in there. It's all like everything's different. So it was a mind beep, to say the least.
I love it. Yeah. So that'll be available for you Edge members as a play along to practice along with this stuff too. But before we get into it, play another tune for us. This one is by the New Caledonia.
That's correct.
And it's called Celestial Satellites.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. Unreal. I love it.
Thanks, man.
Such good control. Such good control. How you feel, man? You a little
Good, loosened up now.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, you're on 2 hours of sleep here, right?
2 hours of sleep.
Something like that.
And maybe like 10 in the last 3 or 4 days.
Well, that's what coffee's for, right? Mm-hmm. So you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So help us develop a stronger, faster, and better kick.
Yeah, so single kick. There's lots to talk about it. People, it's probably the question that I get the most on Instagram, and rightfully so. I do play a lot of single kick stuff on Instagram, and it's something that I'm definitely very interested in, but I don't talk about it a lot just because I don't think Instagram's a very good platform for it. So for all those that have asked me over the last couple of years about what I do and how I do it, it's just like I can't really answer it in a couple of sentences. So it's such a great platform to be finally able to, talk to you guys about how I developed my single kick and where I've taken it to and where I want to take it to. So today, I'm hoping to sort of cover from beginner through to advanced. As Dave mentioned before, he's slide, I'm slide. And let's sort of acknowledge a couple of elephants in the room. I bury my beater, first and foremost. So for all you out there that are anti the bury of the beater, don't switch off, but yeah, just avert your eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm heel up as well. So I only play heel up. I bury the beater. It's just the way that I've always done it, and I've been doing it for 20 years now. I'm very comfortable doing it. So for all those that play like that, you should hopefully get a lot out of this. But the way that we'll do the lesson is that I was thinking we'll start with a couple of basics that I think are really fundamental, things that I actively did to get to where I am now. You can't have multiples of 2 with your kick, so 4s and 6s and 8s, unless you sort of lay down the foundation. And we're not just talking about strengthening the kick, we're talking about freedom within the grooves as well, like where you can place your kick. So placement of the singles and placement of the doubles. So when I was younger, I actively did a couple of things that definitely helped me progress a lot faster than that. So I want to talk about those things today. So I think what we'll start off with is talking about, let's lay down like a foundation to the lesson in the sense that everything that I do is going to be mostly underneath 8ths on the stack. So this will be the foundation of what we build the lesson on. Quarter notes accented on those 8ths. And that gives us freedom that if we want to then build on it, so I use a term called progressive overload a lot, then we can start to do things like incorporate ghosting and also incorporate hi-hat pulsing and things like that, which are great things to be able to turn on and turn off as you're sort of progressing as a drummer. So everything will be there. So let's quickly talk about the permutations or the single note and double kick placements that you can have within an 8th note groove if the snare's on the 3. So this will be our foundation. Now, I'm playing it as 8ths, but if we're to count it as 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and let's quickly go through the single notes for the whole notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, E, 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 and, underneath the groove. Make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's do the double version. So 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, E and, E and, E and, E and. And
then and 1, right?
R1, R2, or R4, R1, yes, correct. So that will be... There's so much going on in there. For all you young drummers, if you master those permutations and those placements, that's the foundation of everything. And I'm not going to lie, it's rep work. If you put in the time, you will be rewarded with the fruits of your labour. I have no issue with sitting down on a practice pad or a kit for hours and doing this sort of stuff. I find it very therapeutic. I find it very meditative. And at a very young age, I understood how... I just understood that if you put the time in, you will get rewarded. Nothing that I do here is special or unique. I've just put time into it. So I hope you see everything here as things that you can potentially grab. But if you put the time into that as the first and foremost the foundation, then it's a real solid place to start.
I love it.
Yep. Okay, cool. So the next place that I went was I needed a place to put those, and at the time I was listening to a band called Meshuggah quite a lot. Thomas Hark's the drummer, and he recorded a song called Rational Gaze. He recorded it on double pedal, but he's only doing sets of 2, and I basically just took it on as a challenge to try and learn it on a single kick. The way that the groove works is that there's a rhythm inside it that has 11 notes, and that rhythm is... That's the rhythm. But when you put that underneath the 8ths and the snare on the 3, where it repeats forces you to basically put that rhythm in all the different places that you could possibly put it. So it's forcing your body to adjust to all those permutations that you'll be forced to deal with and get control over. So this groove is not easy fast. And it's definitely something that can be learned if you just approach it nice and slow and methodically. So I chip away at things. So I would kind of work on the first couple of bars, lock that in. I have no problem with just like adding and adding and adding. So that's the way that I would approach it. I would listen to the song, get in the first 2 bars, add the 3rd bar, add the 4th bar, and approach it like that. Just be methodical and just take your time. If you take your time, you'll get the rewards. So let's just do the groove without the ghosting and without the pulsing. I'll just lay down a full cycle of what this groove is. So as you can obviously see there's a lot going on there, but once you adjust to that rhythm and get used to it, it starts to become quite natural and you sort of understand the flow of it.
Can you do that one more time, but like quite a bit slower?
Yeah.
So we can kind of feel where that 11-note pattern is, or just get an idea of what it sounds like?
Yeah, so I played it on the hats before, but the pattern on the kick is what you're listening out for is this. That's it there, and then it repeats, okay? But I'll pull it back a bit. Okay.
Very cool. So why that 8-note exercise?
Why did I choose that?
Yeah, what was so powerful about that to you?
Well, first and foremost, it's a hell of a song.
Yeah.
So I have an affinity for Meshuggah, so taking the time to learn that was a labour of luxury. Like I didn't mind doing it. It was a labour of love. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it was recorded on double, so the idea of playing it on a single just really tantalised me, and every time I got a bar more under the belt, once I got to playing a full cycle, man, it was just like euphoria, you know? Mm-hmm. It's these little things like that. But I mean, I worked on this back in, I'm 34 now, and I put this together maybe when I was 21. The album came out a long time ago, but I still use it as a reference to this day because this is how I did it. So you learn that groove, which we have got the notation for. It lays down a lot of the foundation of where you go. I mean, the way that I approach this sort of stuff is lay down the foundation, so the 2 exercises that we did at the start, the permutations, then we apply it to something, so application in terms of the Meshuggah groove, and then you can go and explore. But you've sort of got to learn the rules to break them. If you want to be free with something, you've got to lock it into a system first, and that's truly being free when you've put it into a system and you've honoured the system, and then you can remove yourself from it. So if I was going to use that progressive overload idea with that groove, then I would add in some ghosting and then maybe the hi-hat pulsing as well. And to be honest, it's a bit easier doing that. Like I feel like I can relax into it a bit more. And an example of that, so the same groove but with ghosting underneath and with hi-hat pulsing would be like this. It's a bit harder doing the pulsing really slow.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll lay down some hi-hat pulsing.
Nice.
Yeah, not necessarily necessary in terms of the hi-hat pulsing, but I try and do that stuff as much as I can because it is a skill in itself. So I'm all about killing 3 birds with 1 stone. So start with the simple pattern, add in some ghosting, then maybe add in some hi-hat pulsing. And that sort of makes it go from sort of beginner to advanced. And then if you really push the tempo, that's how you make these things harder.
So you're building a freedom to be able to play doubles inside of the downbeat, out of the downbeat, all over the place within that 16-note grid.
Exactly, and comfortably. Like I want to feel those offbeats and those quarter notes as comfortably as I do the whole notes, you know, which every drummer wants. You guys, you all want to do this, so this is just a really solid way of achieving that.
What's the name of the Meshuggah song?
Rational Gaze.
There you go.
It's a mighty tune. Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep. So now for the second exercise, this is a groove that I sort of progressed onto. I wrote this groove myself, and it was a product of learning that Meshuggah groove. It's a similar sort of theory. So there's a 7-note rhythm in this one. Just that there. Yep. And that actually repeats similar to what I said before. The reason why this one's good is because we can go two places with it. So once again, I'll lay down the eighths, and then maybe we'll add in some ghosting, and we'll sort of progress on it again. So this is the groove as a whole. I'll play it fast first to get comfortable.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so it's only 7-note rhythm, but
you can hear that pattern a lot easier.
Yeah, and it actually goes 2 bars longer if we were going to fully finish the cycle. But there's a couple of places that we can go with that as well. So we can get that ghosting in there, which I was starting to do a little bit of. But what I did with this groove was start to incorporate the idea of locking my right hand into my right foot. And you know, it's not a new thing. A lot of guys do it. I mean, Carter Beaufort's probably the most famous one for it. So, man, this kit sounds great.
I know, I'm in love with it.
So this groove sort of lends itself to that as well. So once again, this is the first cycle. And another note to add is that it forces you to play the snare with the kick pattern too, and I like that as a lesson, learning not to flam the snare and the kick when they're on top of each other. So now let's lock in the right hand to the kick. Okay, and that one's really cool because you can start to really push the tempo in it. So yeah, that's another good pattern to learn, obviously. Pull the tempo back, work on it nice and slow. Once you get comfortable with it underneath the eighths on the stack, then maybe lock in the right hand and the right foot, and then you fill in the gaps with the ghosting.
Love it. So you're developing freedom again. Now you're adding the snare over top of it, not flamming that, just developing precision, I guess, with your foot as well.
Yeah, and spending a lot of time on it, man.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that are great and really proficient, the guys that I aspire to, they've just done more time than us, you know, so we just need to do more time, basically. So do you want to move on to the next groove?
Cool. Keep moving, yeah.
Cool, so the next groove is a little something that I wrote a little while ago that helped me start to work through triplets. So the John Bonham triplet. And then also understanding 30-second notes as opposed to the triplets. So that would be... And then you could also put that 30-second at the start. So this groove is a bit of an odd groove, but I'll lay down a single note version first, and then on the 2 cycles I'll try and add in a bit of a triplet or 30-second notes.
There was a lot that happened there.
Yes, there was.
So play 3A for us again. This is just a single version. Just do that one like once or twice, just so we can get that single
feel of
version
that groove.
Yeah.
The single kick version.
The single kick version.
Yeah, and the trick to this one is that all the kicks are in the 1E and. It's either in the E or the and in terms of the placement, but you'll have to look at the notation to suss out which one.
Beautiful. So now what you're doing, you're just taking that pattern and applying doubles to it.
Exactly.
Both
So
in
wherever
30-second notes and 60-note triplets.
Yeah, and I kind of just muck around with both. I mean, obviously, the more that you push the tempo, the triplets are going to eventually turn into 30 seconds. So even at that tempo that I was doing then, the line was starting to blur. But it's about understanding and distinguishing the difference.
Right.
Yeah, and that in itself is a really good exercise too.
So show us 3B then with the doubles one more time. Dude, that's nasty, man. That is nasty. Do you want to show us that with the triplet feel?
No. But I
don't blame you, though.
Yeah, I'm still, like, the thing is to understand as well is that I'm still learning myself. And so this is how I approach it. This is how I do it. I probably work too hard for it, but I'm constantly trying to work less for it, but to achieve the same result. So the way that I played a year and a half ago, 2 years, is a lot more relaxed than what I used to be. And I'm just constantly trying to refine those little things as well, you know.
Now, keep in mind, I'm sure there's drummers watching this thinking, I can't even get that fast on just no beat at all, just trying to get my foot to go that fast. This is not really a technique video lesson on slide technique or heel toe or anything like that. But you have to put in the work to get to this stage by doing these kind of exercises.
Yeah, if you want to get to multiples of 2, you've got to work on the foundation.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough, if you're struggling with triplets and 32s, just progressive, you know, and then boost the tempo, do it to a click and push and push and push and sweat it, man. You want your calf to burn, you want your quad to burn, put the work in.
Yeah. And there's tons of lessons inside of Drumeo on slide technique and heel toe. Jared and I both teach that. All the drummers teach that inside of Drumeo. There's lots of lessons out there, but there's no one that does this technique here to get the 4s. Let's move on to number 4 now, where we're getting into some.
So now we can introduce the multiples of 2. So this is where, this is something that I discovered back in 2012. It was a happy accident. I've always liked my pedals quite tight in tension. Not so much these days, but when I was younger I did. And I just started to pursue closing the gap of doubles. So if we do a couple of doubles. That's sort of the theory there. Because we don't have all the time in the world today, what I'm going to do is film a course specifically on this technique tomorrow, I think we are. And it's, it's a real honor for me to do that. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper, past these couple of exercises that I'm going to play, we'll do it in a full course that you can check out on Drumeo.
And we'll do slow motion footage and everything. It's gonna be
slow-mo is going to be great.
Yeah. So it's basically just 2 slides back to back. You just close that gap.
I'm just closing that gap, yeah. So.
Yeah, you guys seen that Jojo Mare's constant motion technique.
Yeah.
I think this is a similar, the slide technique version of that. That's just my interpretation of it.
Yeah, I would see it like that as well.
It's like funny, like for your feet.
Yeah, because the Jojo comparison is definitely there. I think he just throws his heel down a little bit more. Because I've always played quite elevated, this is sort of my interpretation of what my body naturally wants to do, I suppose. Yeah, and I used to work really hard for it when I first stumbled across it, but I've been refining it and working on just relaxing and grooving a bit more to it and stuff. Because with all these sorts of things, if you can't apply it to something, then there's not much point in doing it in terms of, like, if you can't apply it to a groove, then what's the point? So on that note, let's apply it to a groove. Let's just start with something simple. Like, let's just lay down 4 notes on the kick, underneath 8ths on the stack, and just see how it goes. I think the foot's starting to warm up now.
if you close your eyes and listen to that, you'd swear you're playing double pedal.
Good.
Especially with some of the speeds that you get that at.
Yeah, and I suppose that's why I like this technique, because sometimes with the single kick techniques that do multiple strokes, the second stroke can fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really happen in this. It's not perfect, but I'm working to get it perfect, and I just like it that it's got full dynamics the whole way through, if I do it properly, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah, it sounds great, man.
Thank you.
You're far too humble. You have a great foot.
Thank you.
Show us number 5 then, the
Okay.
3/4 polymeter.
Yeah, so let's move the quads into like a 3/4 feel. So yeah, that'll be like this. And if you really want to try and spice it up, then try and put the pulsing underneath. It's like a real tap dancing sort of routine, and I'm still working on it myself. But I like the challenge, and so it doesn't bother me, if it doesn't work, or if it, it's getting easier, to say the least, I suppose.
Bravo, that's not easy. So why number 5? What makes this one a good one to put in your exercise toolbox?
Because it's making me recall on those movements a lot sooner. I mean, the beauty of the number 4 groove is that you've got a lot of time to reset the body. Mm-hmm. So it forces your balance to be really good. It forces your posture to sort of be to somewhat work with it. I mean, you're recalling that leg. And you're on the ups, you're on the downs, and it's in all those like nooks and crannies that I like to dig into. Mm-hmm. I mean, the hats is another thing, but like I say, just keep working on it. Add in the ghosting. It's all about progressive overload is such a underused term in drumming. Start with simple stuff and then just add a little bit more, add a little bit more, add a little bit more, Don't go right to 10. Start at 1. Conquer that. Flip it over. Go to 2. Go to 3. Go to 4.
Dude, there's a lot to take in this lesson here. Yeah. So give your best advice to beginner drummers who are wanting to get a foot like yours, like practice tips and how to approach it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the first thing to understand is that it's not going to happen overnight, and no matter how much time you put in. I think the problem with young drummers these days is they want that immediate fix. It's because of the way that social media is and stuff, but just resolve in the fact that it will happen eventually, but it just takes time. And the guys that are willing to put that time in and understand that it does take time, they're the ones that see the results. Like I already see a couple of young guys that have been watching some of my videos, and they're starting to take it further. And that's what I want to see. I want to see you guys, develop it further. I mean, I'm just mucking around with it and having fun. But this can be applied to grooves. It can be used. It can be utilized. And just relax as well. Just read your body, listen to your body like anything. If you do single stroke for too long, you get past that point of achieving anything, back it off. Understand when to take a rest. Don't beat yourself up. Just take the time, be methodical about it. Just keep showing up. Every time you say you're going to practice, just do it. Doing a practice when you're not feeling 100% is still better than not doing one at all. So, But then, also understand to just relax as well.
Perfect. Yeah. I hope you guys pick something up from this. I mean, these are the things that you went through to get to where you're at. Take it slow. It's not going to happen overnight. Number 1, or even before number 1, just the permutations, just getting comfortable with that placement of
They're
these.
so good. They're so good, man.
It's such a simple exercise, but it goes helps you out so much. And then the 5 exercises that you gave us just to really work on that placement and that power, not flamming when you're playing your snare and your bass drum at the same time, giving yourself a good foot workout, and then even a little bit of a sneak peek into your technique. I mean, for those who are slide technique players, you might be able to pick it up just from this video alone, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And each exercise is a progression from the last. So those permutations, they're just a lot of people struggle with a system. They struggle. They might know what to practice, but they don't really know how to practice it. So hopefully those permutations, just as a solid exercise, it gives you a system that you can just work on, and then just keep boosting the tempo. Chuck on a click, keep pushing it, sweat it out.
Yeah,
like I have been.
He's been playing nonstop for at least the last 2 hours or so. So this first song that you played to, that's a great workout for your foot. that goes through this technique or these exercises, kind of.
Yeah.
So you Edge members will be able to download that. We're going to do a full course that really dives into his technique with slow motion footage and a whole breakdown of how you can develop that. And if you guys just want to get doubles going, you don't need the fours right away. Get your slide technique or your heel toe or something like that down first, or at least work on your 2 notes really fast as much as you can so you can develop that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything to add, man, before we wrap up?
No, just a big thank you to you guys. I mean, it's humbling. I just the whole experience has been nuts. I can't believe that I'm actually here. We spoke about this 18 months ago, so to think that I'm actually sitting in the studio now, where I've just seen so many fantastic drummers and all the way from Australia, and I'm just honoured, and thank you so much. Thank you, Jared, for reaching out. It's just incredible.
Yeah, your playing speaks for itself. You're always welcome here whenever you come back to North America.
Thanks.
But it's been an honour to have you on the show and to at least share some of your tidbits of how to develop that foot. So a huge thanks again to Pearl, Zildjian, Remo, and Allbirds.
Allbirds, yeah.
That's right. And if you guys are in his local area, check out his coffee shop too.
Yeah, yep, Rumble Coffee Roasters. It's, like I said, a labour of love. If you ever want to brew or want some coffee,
yeah,
hit us up. And we've got a website too, so we can send internationally.
What's the website?
rumblecoffeeroasters.com.au.
Perfect. And follow Stan on Instagram at Stan Bicknell. Before you go, though, you put together a Periphery cover, I guess you could say?
Essentially, yeah. It's
Explain
a loose term. I
us.
mean, basically, I was driving along one day and I heard an instrumental piece written by Periphery with Misha and Matt Halpern. And it's called New Groove, and it's only 2 minutes long, no vocals. And when I was driving along, it just sounded like a really good song that sort of exemplifies all the things that we've just been talking about. It includes the permutations of the ones, the twos, and the quad notes as well, so the 4-note groupings. And it was a real challenge as well. The chorus is quite heavy on the foot. I still don't play it perfect, but for me, it's all about reps and sort of repetition and stuff. So it's a really good tune. So I got my friend to record a scratch guitar, and I've just used it as a workout exercise, really, for myself.
I love it, yeah. When you can find something musical and fun to practice along to, I find that you just do it more often, you know?
Yeah.
And you can put some sort of melody to the exercise you're doing.
Yeah, and I just want to say shout outs to Periphery and Misha and Matt for writing such a cool tune, and yeah.
Okay, well, let's close out with that then.
Okay.
This track will be available for inside of the course in Drumeo to practice along with. We also notated these patterns out too.
Yes.
But show us the song, man.
I will try.
Hey, thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you. Legend.
We'll see you guys all later.